Hello survivors and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be doing the Glen Gauntlet roadmap, and of course right now the Glen wheel is up. It is 4 featured characters, but it is Glen as the priority. It doesn't have the breakdown odds, but the guess is that Glen is got higher odds to get out of that 3% than the other characters, just like Camilla was higher odds to get when she was the featured character. A lot of people were pulling her, a lot of people are pulling Glen right now on this wheel. And those other 2 characters you could potentially pull as well. We will have Chris and Alpha as future roadmaps. So if you want to pull for one of those particular characters, like Chris for instance, you should hold off on your pulls and wait until he comes up so that you actually have a better chance of getting Chris. But we're going to be doing this roadmap right here, as you can see, and it's the Glen Gauntlet. It's exactly the same sort of deal as the Camilla Gauntlet. The price of the stages is exactly the same. It's 1 bottle per stage. And the rewards are actually identical. I did kind of assume as much in terms of my predictions in what we could get for 5 bottles. 24 knife sheaths is now guaranteed. The assumption is going to be that it's going to be exactly the same for Chris and Alpha, but instead of knife sheaths in these positions, it's going to be sports gauntlets. So you'll get 24 knife sheaths, 24 sports gauntlets. If you do 3 pulls on each character, that's very easy to complete. If you can't complete the last 2 stages, don't worry too much about it. But 3 pulls on each character, you get a lot of knife sheaths, a lot of sports gauntlets. Well worth it. Definitely save your coins for that. If you haven't got coins right now, save any coins you get coming in, because there is going to be a ranged version of this as well, where it's probably going to have practice dummies and it's probably going to have weapon tripods. So if you're in need of those 2 as well, it's well worth doing. So we're going to go through the roadmap and we're going to pick a team. So one thing to mention with this roadmap, of course, is Glen is not a leader. He is a specialist. He has got a very nice specialist skill. Guardian 2 is great. However, he hasn't got the greatest of weapons to make that Guardian 2 happen too often. It's only 20 crit. He has got 10 base, but that isn't going to be a huge amount of crit. It will happen now and again, so you could potentially take a leader that gives a crit bonus. The biggest issue with that is characters like Abraham. They also have an attack bonus on there, and those teams are going to get melted, and they're not really going to add anything in terms of defense, obviously, but they're not going to add anything in terms of how often you're going to rush either. And I think that's the 2 best ways you can go on this team, is adding more of a defensive team with a leader, or a team that will rush more often to be able to get defense buffs up, or rushing more often to take out your opponents to reduce their offensive capabilities, because that's going to be the major issue when you're coming up against these roadmap teams, because they can have 3, 5, 8,000 attacks sometimes, and it's huge amounts of damage. Even basic attacks can really hurt. So there's one of 2 options you can go, in my opinion, and that would be with a AP on attack leader. Doesn't matter too much on the second buff. If you can make it more of a defensive buff, so it's like HP or defense, that's great. However, if you've only got an attack leader, that's absolutely fine, like someone like Michelle for instance. Or you could go with a more defensive leader, again, someone like Carl, someone like Rosita, in terms of 40% defense, 40% HP. So Glen gets a bonus from that, but also the entire rest of your team will as well. So this is the team I've gone with. It's obviously a fast and alert team. I've gone with Decap Sandy for the big damage, along with Michelle. Laurie's just mainly there for buffing and neutralizing. Sandy is there for bypassing shields with her rush, obviously to give a bit of taunt, but also to revive anybody who needs it. And Carly's there for the defense buff. I'm hoping that Glen is going to hit crits. That's the big fingers crossed. I'm not sure how this will go. The first couple of stages will know how good this team is. If I'm taking hits on those first couple of stages, you can potentially get 1 shot, on the other stages. So we're going to run through and see how it goes. So the first couple of stages should be like 1 shot sort of stages in terms of how quickly we'll get through this. But they have got weapons. Obviously I've got some characters which, ooh, look at that, straight off with the commands. So already we know my Decap Sandy's taking damage, because this character has got no attack, 851, and she got hit pretty hard there. But her damage output is very good. So it's debatable whether this team is going to work or not. Fingers crossed. We are doing it for the knife sheaths early on. Knife sheaths early on. We'll keep cracking through. Let's take out some key characters. Okay, should be fine. First 2 or 3 stages, as I said once before, are pretty straightforward in terms of just completing it. So that's the first 2 stages. I don't think they go over 1k attack at this point. So, again, like I say, very straightforward. This is where it starts to get a little bit more difficult in terms of just pure stats. You're getting 3,000 attack. So it does look like this is more of an attacking roadmap. Like the last roadmap we did with Camilla, all the defensive stats were high, but the attack wasn't that high. So, like I said, this could be just like a race to see who wins in terms of who attacks first and fastest. We'll have to see. Let's just pop this. There we go. There's 3 waves as well. You can charge up the rushes. That first stage, just take it a little bit easier. And take out a key target on the next stage, which I'd say would probably be him. And then take out her as well. Don't want to use too many rushes. We might even defend a little bit. Rush will come in, no big deal. And we're going to get her rush, which is important. If we can go with that many rushes on the last stage, it's nice. Okay, let's see. Pop Laurie's rush first. It's not going to be too hard though. Oh, the last stage is, sorry, the last wave is easier than the first wave. I wonder if they did that on purpose. They may have. Okay, let's take out him. And her, apparently. Yeah, the last wave was easier than the first. I think it's because of the charging up of the rushes. Now we get on to the good bits. No idea how this is going to go. We have got extra wine bottles. That's the benefit. If anything goes wrong, I've got extra wine bottles to fall back on because of the Camilla roadmap. And we're going to get rewarded with 10 off of this anyway, so it's no big deal. The only problem with losing wine bottles is if you actually plan on doing the Harper roadmap, but other than that, oh, they've all got absolute defense weapons for that. And it's behind Diego. She's got reflect. Okay. She's the priority target because obviously she's a decap. She got a double attack weapon. No, it's a reflect weapon. I already saw that. So this is where the issue can come in terms of damage output. Oh, was that reflect death? Okay, it doesn't count as a decap. That's good. That's good. That's good. We're having people die. We're having people die. That's not good. Okay, we'll do that. Hopefully get rid of 1 or 2 of these. Okay, that's perfect. 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 Yeah, this is very much. Maybe even be better off taking a defensive team. It's hard to know at this point. I'll just get people's rushes up. There we go. I'm going to be out of energy. Oh, it's all the absolute defense weapons again. So I didn't bring my disarm on purpose because I knew people wouldn't have one. Tell you what, I'm just gonna take out her straight away. No, I'm not. Damn, she is hard. That reflects. And there's decapitate. Is that decapitate? No, it's not. Good. Good. It's good. Still stunned. Okay. Should have done the hill afterwards, but A. Gonna actually purposefully. How did she attack? Oh, okay, she wasn't stunned when she did it. Okay. Oh, she's not got another one. So the Glenn's not going to come back. Let's Charge up rushes a little bit. She's got an... Okay. Cool. Should burn. Burn. Okay, the last stage. Yeah, it's just big attack, isn't it? Big attack. As long as... Oh, there's a reflect weapon, didn't see. As long as... That's cheeky having reflect weapons. Stun him. That's good. Let's just get rid of him if I can. Nice. Flat. It's all good. Heals. Yeah, this is a much tougher roadmap just because of the damage output. But we should be good. But it's a kill or be killed by the looks of things. I could try a more defensive one for the last one, but the damage... The reason I don't go for a more defensive one is the damage is so high that it's going to make that defense, like, not mean anything anyway. And that's why I wouldn't go for a more defensive setup. But I'm beating these guys by rushing with powerful rushes before them. Sure, I'm losing people on stages or waves, but the idea is that... But let me see if I can mix things up maybe a little bit. So this is the team I'm going to go with. It is a fairly free-to-play team. I think all of these guys have been available in Ascendance or 5-star wheel, and obviously SR Zeke's in the depot. I'm not really sure how this is going to go. My theory is that their attack's going to be too high. They could potentially like one-shot Ezekiel, for instance. But I have to take Ezekiel because I need the buffs. The second his buffs goes off, it should be easy. I should have maybe taken a command to force that to happen, but then I'll massively lack damage. I'm not going to decapitate, so any revives are going to be an issue, but we're going to just see what we have to do. So instantly, we're against a really strong team. Instantly. We've got an obvious window here, and an obvious window here. So we'll try and stun him. Okay, that's good. Okay. Okay, we're getting a bit fortunate. Okay. We got a little bit fortunate. And then I can active him. So look at my damage, or lack of. So now I can just try and go around and stun them again. Yeah, I should have buffed actually first. I was just concentrating too much on the stuns. Now the damage, a lot of Guardian 2 shields are out, which is great. Okay, his damage on his rush is actually pretty decent, which is nice. And then we'll just take care of this annoying guy. Or not, as the case may be. Who got confused? Him and... was it Brian? Shit. Jesus. Okay. Maybe taking things a little bit slower now. I'm going to try and save rushes as well now. As much as possible. Keep him dangerous. Let's try and stun this guy. Just kill him outright. That's good. Good. Oh, that's not good. Oh yeah, Maimed still bugged. Always forget about that. Maimed through Guardian 2 shields. Should not be able to happen. How much I'm gonna buff? Should bleed and burn. There we go. We've got some rushes for the next stage. I can control a shield with Cal straight away. They don't have one. I'm not gonna make the same mistake I did once before. I'm going to make sure I take care of this young lady. Nice and early. Who didn't get confused? This guy. Control him. not sure why they didn't just do all their attacks on her, to be honest. But... okay, we've got some rushes. We can deal with that. Who's gonna have the horrible rush? Let me see if I can stun one. Okay, lucky. I'll take her out first just because she'll get buffed otherwise. I can just taunt him. Okay, defensive setup maybe is the way to go. It will take a little bit of time. Make sure you take some defense down with someone like Connor. Just because if you do come up against a defensive stage, I haven't seen one so far, but like this stage isn't too bad. Defenses aren't ridiculously high. It's the attacks. So Guardian 2 shields being everywhere will be really important. So I guess the priority would be this guy, Alice and Chris, these three. If I'm honest. I mean, all four of these, to be honest, because he can just command any of these guys. So I'm going to try and take care of somebody early. Probably her, just because she can revive. And she is dead. Let's try and stun you. Nice. Go here. Bleeding or burning? No. Do that. Let's try and stun you again. Nope. Them having nothing to stop me from doing my rushes. This is much more comfortable than the last one, but I don't know. Maybe, I think it's gone better. I think it was just because the last ones had red and greens. I didn't want to take my green teams in, but it seems to be fairly comfortable. I didn't get hit too hard. Guardian shields are popping quite nicely. It does look like if you go for a controlling setup, it seems to be the easiest way to get through it. The last stage of the roadmap was easily the hardest, but it was much easier than the fourth stage, just based on the fact that I had a more defensive setup. So that seems to be the way to go for the Glen roadmap. I would say stick to that sort of defensive setup that I went with there, but try and have a buffer, at least one controller. If you've got Shiva, like a second controller for active, he's got active and rush, the debuffer, buffer, and you can just slowly get through teams. I didn't need to bypass shields. If you have enough stun katanas and stuff, you can get through teams just by stunning them. They're no resists, so you can get through them like that. But it wasn't too bad, all things considered, but I could see it going very wrong if I wasn't consistently hitting stuns. The teams, especially that team with Zachary in it, behind Michelle, that's an AP team on defense versus my team, which had no AP gain. That could have gone bad, so I would have had to massively rely on stuns. You saw I got very lucky with the 4 stuns, but I would have had to rely on an active stun on the shield to be able to bypass it for the next turn, and then I'd have to be able to control both Zachary and most likely Michelle as well. And they had Wayland. They had a lot of damage output on that stage, so that one I can see being a real issue for people. So take a lot of control and it should be okay. Make sure you just take a nice synergistic team. Don't go for all out damage, don't go for all out defense. It's never going to work. You're either never going to be able to get through a team with all out defense, or you're going to get annihilated with all out attack. But that's it on my video, guys. Hope this helped in some way. I'll be doing roadmap walkthroughs of both the Chris and Alpha ones as well when they pop up. But thank you very much for tuning in. As always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.